Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Snowbeck. Today we are going to do Unit 7, Notes 5. And it is all about graphing circles and writing the equation for a circle. The equation for a circle goes like this. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now it looks pretty complicated, but it's actually not too bad. The h and the k stand for the coordinate at the center of the circle. So I'm just going to write this down. H comma k is the center of the circle. The h is the x value and the k is the y value. R stands for the radius of the circle. And so I think it'll be best if we just jump right into an example. Number 1, write the equation of a circle with a center at 1, -8, and a radius of 7. So remember the formula. It goes x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. This is our h, the 1. This is our k, the -8. And this is our r, our radius. So the center is the h and the k, and the radius is the 7, or the r. So it's going to go like this. X minus 1 squared. We plug in the 1 for the h. Then plus y minus -8 squared. We plug in that k, the -8, and then equals 7 squared. We have just a little bit of simplifying to do. X minus 1, there's not much we can do with, so we just copy that down. But here, when you see minus a minus, this actually changes to a plus. And so the next part should be y plus 8. We can change that from a minus minus, a double negative. And then 7 squared is 49. So we want to make sure we change that. And this would be our final equation for the circle. Let's try number 2. Write the equation of a circle with a center at -2, 6 and a radius of 4. All right, so we're still going to use our equation from the top of the page here, and it's going to go x minus, think of what you plug in, -2. This is our h, this is our k, squared, plus y minus 6 squared equals, and the radius is 4, so 4 squared. Now just simplify. We have a double negative, so instead of x minus -2, we can change it to x plus 2 squared. And then we'll leave this y minus 6 squared. But then 4 squared, we can change that. It is 16. And that is our final answer. This is an interesting one. Write the equation of a circle with a center at the origin. Where's the origin? On a graph, the origin is this spot right here. And what's the coordinate right there? 0, 0. So that is the origin. The origin is at 0, 0. So this is going to be our h, this is going to be our k, and our radius is root 10, or the square root of 10. So here we go. X minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals square root of 10 squared. Now the minus 0, you don't really need that. If you have something and you take away 0, it's not going to change. So that can just be written without the 0, so x squared. And this part can be written y squared. You don't need the minus zeros because it's not taking anything away. And then the square root and the square symbol on the 10, they undo each other. They like cancel each other out, and you just wind up with plain old 10. And that is your final answer. Okay, let's try number 4. Write the equation of a circle with the center at 4, -1 and a diameter of 8. They're trying to trick you a little bit. If the diameter is 8, what's the radius? If you're thinking 4, you are correct. So this is our h, this is our k, and then our radius is 4. So it should be x minus 4 squared plus y minus -1 squared equals, and then we plug in our radius, 4 squared. Okay, simplify whatever you can. So this first part, we just leave x minus 4 squared. But this next part, when we have the double negative, we can change that to a plus. And then 4 squared, of course, is 16. And that would be the equation for the circle with a center at 4, -1, and a diameter of 8. Number 5, write the equation of a circle with a center at -2, 3 that passes through -2, 1, then graph the circle. Well, I can see the center is at -2, 3, so this is going to be our h, this is going to be our k, but I don't think we were given the r. I think it's going to be easier to graph this first. So the first thing I want you to do is put a dot at the center. The center is at -2, 3. So can everybody put a point on the graph at -2, 3? Okay, check to see if yours is in the same place as mine, my red dot there. That is left 2, up 3, -2, 3. Now, the circle passes through -2, 1. So let's put a dot or a point at -2, 1. Okay, that's my blue dot. That's going to be the radius of your circle. If the red dot is the center and the circle actually passes through the blue dot, they are 2 boxes apart. So what I'm going to do is from the center, I'm going to put a few more dots on my graph. I'm going to go from the center right 2 boxes, and up 2 boxes, and left 2 boxes. Because if I have a few points there, now it's going to be easier to draw my circle or actually graph my circle. And there is my circle. Okay, so the center we already know. We already know our h and our k. What did we decide the radius was? Well, the radius, these are 2 boxes apart, so the radius is going to be 2. So now we can write our equation. Our equation is going to go x minus, now think about what we plug in, -2 squared plus y minus, think about what we plug in, 3 squared. We plugged in from here, our -2 and our 3, equals the radius squared, so 2 squared. Okay, simplify. Minus a negative changes to a plus. Y minus 3 can just stay how it is, but 2 squared is 4. And that would be the equation for this circle. Write an equation of a circle with a center at -1, 0 that passes through -1, 4, then graph the circle. Okay, you guys, we know the center. We know this is going to be our h and this is going to be our k, but we don't know the radius yet. So I think it's actually going to be easier to graph it first. Let's put a dot at the center, -1, 0. So please put a dot at that point. Which way is -1, 0? Should be right here. It should be just left 1, up 0. That's the center. Now our actual circle is going to pass through -1, -4. So let's put a dot there at -1, -4. Okay, so check out where I put the blue dot. It's left 1, down 4. Now, since this radius here, the distance between those is 4 boxes, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out from that red dot 4 and up 4 and left 4. So from the red dot, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put a dot here, and I'm going to go up 4, and I'm going to go left 4, which is out here. So now I have some dots, and I can draw in my circle a little better. Not perfect, but close enough. Okay, so what is our radius again? How many boxes was that? The radius is 4 boxes, so 4 units. So let's write our equation. It's going to go x minus, what is the h? -1 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 4 squared. So we have our h, our k, and our r, and now we simplify. So this can change to a plus. Y minus 0, we can just change to plain old y. We don't need the minus 0. And then 4 squared is 16. This is our final answer. This next one is probably the hardest one in the notes today. It says, write an equation of a circle where the diameter of the endpoints are 5, -4, and 5, 7. We don't know the center of the circle or the radius. So we're going to have to do a little figuring here, okay? They're telling us the endpoints of the diameter are at 5, -4. So I'm just going to quick graph this. Here is a dot at 5, -4, and then also at 5, 7. So this is the diameter of the circle. So how far apart are they? Well, this is 7 and this is 4. So the distance between them, if I do 7 plus 4, is 11. 11 units is the length of the diameter. If you know the diameter, how do you get the radius? Well, the radius should be 11, take it in half, or divide it by 2. So the radius is 5.5. So if I want to figure out where the center of the circle is, you know how this point up here, this point was at 7, it was at 5, 7. What if I take 7 and I subtract out the length of the radius, 5.5? What I get is 1.5. 7 minus 5.5 is 1.5. So if I put a dot at 1.5, that should be the center of our circle. And the coordinate right there is going to be 5, 1.5. And that's going to be the center of the circle. So we have the radius and we have the center. We can write the equation. So here we go. Let's try to write this equation. It's going to go x minus what? Right here. This is our h, this is our k. So x minus 5 squared plus y minus 1.5 squared equals, and then think about what's the radius? 5.5 squared. And then simplify what you can. There's really not much to simplify here. It's x minus 5 squared plus y minus 1.5 squared. But we do need to type into our calculator 5.5 squared. So if we go ahead and do that, 5.5 squared, I got 30.25. And that is our answer. That's a pretty tricky one. If you need to rewind that one and watch it one more time, it's not a bad idea. Number 8, if the equation for a circle is x minus 4 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 9, state the center and the radius. The center and the radius. Well, remember how our equation goes x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared? So the h in this case is the 4 because the x matches, the minus matches, so the h is the 4. You're going to have to think about y plus 1 as y minus -1 because then the y matches, the negative matches, and k is -1. So our center is going to be 4, -1. Center is 4, -1. Now I'm going to do a little erasing here and I want to talk about this one more time. Really what I do is I just take the opposite of whatever's in there. In here it has a -4, but our answer is a +4. In here it has a +1, but our answer is a -1. So really you take the opposite of whatever you see in the parenthesis. Now r squared is 9. So if r squared equals 9, then take the square root and r equals 3. So the radius is going to be the square root of whatever is at the back of the equation. Number 9, if the equation of a circle is x squared plus y squared equals 25, state the center and the radius. All right, let's do the center. So what's behind the x and what's behind the y? Nothing. There's no parentheses or minuses. So that means there's a 0. So the center is actually going to be 0, 0. Because there's nothing behind the x and nothing behind the y. The radius is going to go like this. This is r squared is 25. So take the square root, and our radius is 5. Technically it's plus or minus 5, but you wouldn't have a negative length, and so we just say 5. Please pause the video and try number 10 on your own. When you're done, unpause the video. So here are my answers. Go ahead and pause and check your work if necessary. And next, I want you to try Unit 7, Practice 5. If you have questions, just ask. Have a great day.